right about COVID time. So shut down my business and ate my way through COVID and put 20 kilos on. And so that's why I entered into the keto space. And then through the carnivore journey, ended up losing those 20 kilos, bounced up about 1.5 kilos in 12 months. But for me, my history of weight loss and weight gain, never in 3 years have I managed to stay where I am now. And I'm really happy with that. And I feel great.
Priscilla, could you tell us about your health journey and how did you discover carnivore?
Sure. Like, I think a lot of women, I don't know about men, but a lot of women come into the carnivore space either because they're having gut issues or because they want to lose weight and they've discovered the keto sphere. For me, that's how I started. The keto sphere was my entry point, and I was keto for 3 years before I started the carnivore journey. And I thought that anybody who was doing carnivore was a complete nut job. Also, sorry, stop there. Also, yep. I had gut problems after I started keto because I was unaware that I had an issue with vegetables because I'd always had gut problems, but I didn't realize I'd always had gut problems because when you always have them, you don't know what your homeostasis really is. And so until I started really eliminating the vegetables out, I had that kind of aha moment. And for me, it was about a particular day. I'd gotten through Christmas and I hit the cabbage hard. I really wanted cabbage and bacon. It's my favorite keto meal. And I think because I'd gone through Christmas, eaten a few things that I shouldn't have eaten and hit the cabbage, my gut was just so uncomfortable. And that's when I decided to start carnivore. And I thought, I'm going to give it 7 days because honestly, I didn't think I would manage 7 days on carnivore. Like I said to you, I thought carnivore people were bonkers and how could you do it? And I started and I got about 3 days in, and the realization of what my stomach was doing really then allowed me to see where I was going for the next steps in my journey. And then that 7 days became 2 weeks, and then I hit a month, and I was totally amazed at the difference in how I felt. I also hit menopause, and sorry for guy viewers, it might be too much. I hit menopause right about COVID time. So shut down my business and ate my way through COVID and put 20 kilos on. And so that's why I entered into the keto space. And then through the carnivore journey, ended up losing those 20 kilos, bounced up about 1.5 kilos in 12 months. But for me, my history of weight loss and weight gain, never in 3 years have I managed to stay where I am now. And I'm really happy with that. And I feel great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you started, you said you tried carnivore just for that 7 days.
Yeah.
See how you feel. What
Yeah.
were the kind of key things you noticed when you went on carnivore?
For me, bloat, discomfort in the gut, because I'm an eater. A lot of people, I was addicted to carbohydrates unbeknownst to me, and really sugar orientated, even though I'm not a sweet tooth. Obviously, the carbohydrates just really kept my need for sweet food going all the way through the keto space. I would still have keto treats, which clearly for me, it's been a learning curve. You know, it says it's a keto treat, so it must be good for you. No, it's not. So I had to get rid of all of that stuff to really get to that clarity of how carnivore made me feel. And immediately it was about the comfort of my stomach. And that's one of the reasons I decided to jump on. But in the 3 years that I have, or almost 3 years that I have been carnivore, for me, it's about no joint pain, mental clarity. I don't have any anxiety anymore. And all of those things I had without really realizing I had them until they went away. And I would have a moment where I would just kind of go, oh, I'm not worried about things anymore, you know, and that's that moment where I think it has to be carnivore. I lived 50 years in the standard Australian diet, and then started, changing the way I ate. In the last 3 years of that, period of time, I've had so many moments where I've thought, this has to be down to carnivore because there's no other reason for that. So for me, no joint pain, bloat, discomfort disappeared, clarity, anxiety disappeared. It's just, I mean, I would never have committed to something like this for 3 years if it didn't really give me fantastic benefits. And now I'm one of the crazy ones.
That's awesome. Yeah, all my friends, like my wife thinks I'm crazy, but that's
Yeah.
you just kind of learn to have a sense of humor about it after a while.
Like the cult. We've joined the cult.
Yeah, we've gone crazy. We're joining a crazy cult, but
That's
yeah,
right. Yeah, 100%.
you're feeling better and you're enjoying what you're eating, and you, as you said, that anxiety's gone, the bloat's gone, no joint pain. I mean, who is someone to tell you, oh, you're eating wrong? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Do you know, I find that everyone has an opinion, and you'll know, Todd, everyone has an opinion on what the carnivore diet does to you. And, dare we even get onto the cholesterol situation. But I just find the way I eat now, and even if I decide I'm going to have something that isn't carnivore, and that doesn't happen to me very often, Christmas Day, I like a piece of pineapple. I really go crazy on Christmas Day and have a piece of pineapple. And initially, when I first started the carnivore journey, I was a little bit frightened to get off it because I thought, well, am I properly fat adapted? Will I then go into a spiral and want to have that thing all the time? And I know that does happen to some people, but I'm really fortunate that that doesn't ever happen to me. I can have that thing once a year and immediately next day go straight back onto carnivore because I really enjoy it. I love the way I feel and I love the food I eat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So speaking of what you're eating, what is your menu? What does your day of eating look like?
So for me, I have, and I've heard women particularly have a little struggle with hot fat. It makes me feel a bit nauseous. I mean, I can't speak for all women. I know men don't tend to have that same sort of problem. So I'm a real lean meat eater. I eat high fat mince, but for steak, I will have a eye fillet. I'm a real eye fillet eater. I will eat 18, 20 mince during the day if I want just something easy. Eggs for me. And I will have chicken wings, and occasionally I'll have pork belly. Chicken and pork tend to inflame my joints a little bit. So I eat them, but I know what's going to happen. I get kind of fluidy and I enjoy them. I eat chicken wings and pork because I need to get that fat level up for me as a woman. But generally, I'm an eye fillet kind of girl, and I love it. I don't really like Scotch fillet or, any of those high fat meats. I don't mind a bit of rump, but that's about where I'm at. I eat butter every day. I do sometimes have a little bit of cheese, and I'll have cream, and that's pretty much it.
Nice. And how many meals typically would you eat in a day?
So 2 for me, but I do start my day off with butter and a little bit of cream in my coffee because I just kind of think that if I don't do that, then I don't get enough calories in because I can't eat volume. I'm just not a big volume eater. And B, I just think the benefits of having a bit of butter in the morning is great for me. I like to keep that, that fat protein ratio pretty well balanced.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And then you're doing like a lunch and a dinner, or?
Yep, I'll have a lunch and a dinner. I typically eat between 12 and 1 during the day. I still get hungry. I know a lot of people in the carnivore space will say they don't get hungry. I feel hunger pains, so I eat when I'm hungry. And I try and have my last meal before 7 at night because I don't like to go to bed on a meal. I don't like to go to bed feeling full or uncomfortable. I like to give my stomach enough time to be empty, really.
Nice. So you're really keyed into like how you feel and your sort of hunger cues, listening to your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I used to be really like, I have to have just the one meal at a certain time, but now it's like, if I'm not hungry, I won't eat, or if I've been to the gym, that'll increase my appetite. So I have a second meal maybe, but yeah, I think listening to your body is the way to go.
For me, I guess it's different for a man because you guys can eat so much more. But if I don't eat 2 meals a day, I'm just not getting enough calories in. And that's important for me. I work a physical job. I do a bit of personal training. So I've got to get the calories in, because I initially, when I first started carnivore, I did have a little bit of hair loss, and I lost a lot of weight fairly dramatically. And so I think that I just wasn't eating enough. You know, meat fills me. It's so satiating. And when you see it on the plate initially, because my brain, because I'm an eater, I see a couple of bits of eye fillet. You know, if I'm eating 300 grams of eye fillet, that looks like a lot of food to me. And so I slow it right down and I eat it. But also my brain says, but you should have more on your plate as well. So I just try and split those meals into two so that I can get that calorie volume up, you know.
Nice. Yeah, it is so satiating. So I think that sounds great. That obviously works really well for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned do some personal training. Are you like lifting weights? Like how many days are you training normally?
So I'm a personal trainer. I'm a PT. So I don't do a lot of training at all anymore. I used to train hard. Previous to my keto journey, I was training 7 days a week, lifting really heavy weights. I'm a hard gainer, so I don't put muscle on really easily. And going through the menopause space, my body just got so tired, Todd. I had to just back everything off. And then, of course, COVID hit. So I just stopped everything. I think I got a little bit of depression from the whole COVID situation, like the rest of the world. And I just stopped everything, started massively gaining weight. And then because I was doing keto, I thought I'm not really going to have enough carbs to lift the weights that I was lifting. And of course, that's not the case at all. My body's fully adapted to using its protein stores. But I just do a little bit with clients now. I don't train myself at all. I just do a little bit. I've got some geriatric clients that I train, and we really do very lightweight stuff and more mobility exercise. But predominantly, I'm a massage therapist. So I do that as my everyday job, and really just a couple of clients a week, just keeping them mobile. So certainly not to where you're at with your training, but enough to keep me going, enough to keep me mobile, really.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, when you started carnivore, how did your friends and family respond?
Oh, my husband thought I was completely troppo. He honestly, and I don't know if your wife gets the same with you, because they're concerned. Obviously, they think she's going to get ill. She's not, because we're so, wound up with the whole, veg, you must eat fiber, you must do this. So he thought I was troppo. And I guess because I had been in a state of inflammation for such a long time, I never complained about my gut or, it was just how I felt. And he did really think I was going mental. The rest of my family, I guess, didn't see my journey so intimately, so it wasn't a problem for them. My oldest daughter also thought I was crazy, but she's like built like a twig, can eat whatever she wants, has no problems with inflammation. My youngest daughter has some gut issues, so she kind of gets it. But seriously, I think my husband thought I was going completely nuts until probably a month in, I think. And then he was like, oh, okay. Because I think also he thought it was going to impact on the way he ate. We now eat separately. He cooks for himself. And, we've been together for 26 years, 25 years. So we're at the point now where he's quite happy to cook for himself. I cook for myself. If he wants to have steak or whatever protein that I'm eating, he will do. But if he wants to have something different, he cooks for himself. So we've nutted that out. Or it also, he said it impacted us as a family because I would eat differently and sometimes at different times because I needed to. But we've nutted all of that out, and he knows now it's here to stay. And the other issue that he had was we like to eat out. We like to enjoy a meal out together. And he was concerned that would cause problems for me, not being able to go to a restaurant, not finding somewhere to eat. And there's never, ever, ever been an opportunity that we've gone out for a meal where I haven't been able to find a carnivore meal. Like, who, unless you're going to a vegetarian restaurant, who doesn't serve meat? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, I have a similar situation at home. Like, before I had our first child, we used to like cook our meals a lot together. We'd sort of like, not an argument, but like a heated conversation. Oh, it's your turn to cook tonight. Oh no, I cooked. Your turn. What do we have? And it's like you just can't agree on anything sometimes. Like, it does simplify things. It makes it a lot easier. And I find that I'm spending less time in the kitchen and wasting less, which is nice.
Oh, honestly, people, I know I've seen a lot of videos where people say they just can't afford to do carnivore. And for me, like my favorite I feel it I get from Aldi, it's amazing. It's the best I feel it I've ever bought anywhere. You know, I've bought some really expensive I feel it thinking, oh, this is going to be great. And I constantly go back to Aldi. So you can't tell me that Aldi's going to take my money any more than normal. And there's no wastage in my house. Nothing I eat is wasted. You know, I don't have any packaging anymore, a little tiny bit of plastic around a meat. I don't, you know, nothing I cook is processed. I cook everything. And it's so fun. Like, it takes me like 5 minutes to cook a steak. I'm so less in the kitchen. You know, I barbecue most of my steak. I'll bring it out and put it on the barbecue. So it takes me so less time than it ever used to. I'm in the kitchen far less than I've ever been in my whole life.
Yeah, it's just such, you free up so much more time, and it's like time to do other things. I can study, I could look at other skills I can develop. Like, yeah, it's really liberating going carnivore.
Really is. And I think the thing is as well, you know what you're going to eat. Like and I think that's part of the reason people think that they can't do it, because the world is full of such variety of foods. But that's conflicting. Like in a daytime, if I could eat anything I wanted to, my brain would go mental, because I'd be like, well, what if I put it with that? And what if I do this? And what if I make that? Now I'm like, it's either steak, mince, eggs, chicken, pork. It's really limited, and I'm happy with that. You know, my brain's good there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. And I think like I've gone through like a 3-year phase of like really trying to cut calories down and measure everything and track everything. And you get to the end of the day exhausted. Like, this is tedious.
I've done that all my life, Todd.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah.
Terrible. It's so liberating. And again, that was a part of the journey. Even with keto, I was very cautious because I was watching how many grams I had in a day, because I was eating, you know, a lot of green veg. And it's so liberating just to take your foot off the pedal and go, I don't care how many calories are in this. I don't care. I do still watch. I'm very careful of carbs, I have to say. I was looking at a recipe for Christmas on a carnivore cheesecake, which looks amazing. And they used milk powder cooked with butter, and it kind of congeals up like you could use a biscuit base. It kind of goes like a biscuit base. Really clever recipe. And then, of course, you use cream cheese. And in my head, I'm still totting up the carbohydrates in that, because obviously milk powders, it's got carbohydrates in it. But I kind of thought, it's Christmas Day. You know, if my carbs get a bit high, as long as we have, you know, a pretty clean cheesecake, I'll put a little bit of honey in it. You know, I'll really push the boat out. And I found in my 3 years, initially, I was really staunch. Like, I stayed so clean. And I'm probably glad I did do that, because it's allowed me to be where I'm at now. So I would say for the first 12 months, really clean carnivore, not quite lion diet because I'm a coffee drinker, but really clean carnivore. And then gradually I've taken my foot off the pedal. I used to get really upset with that's not carnivore, you know, but now I'm like, you have to do you've got to stay on the journey. You've got to do the best you can to stay clean. I mean, I'm not going to be a fruit eater. I'm not going to do that. And if people in the carnivore space want to do that, that's cool. I'm fine with that. Where before I used to be like, that's not carnivore. But you've got to make yourself able to do it long term, because otherwise, what's the point? You know, if you want to have a bit of fruit every day, you do that. If you can burn those calories off, you do that. It's not for me. I will put my hand up and say I have Vegemite every single day on my butter now, because I really like Vegemite. So I scrape a little bit of Vegemite on my butter. I don't knock myself around about it. And I think it's like 4 grams of carbohydrates. So, hey, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good point. You've got to do what works for you, and, you know, do what works for your body, and keep it enjoyable, keep it sustainable for you. Otherwise,
100%. Because, I mean, I love, like, when I cook a steak, my mouth literally will water. I really enjoy the flavor of a steak. You know, I'm sure my canine teeth have gotten longer since I started being carnivore. Like, it makes my mouth water. But also, I have a brain, and I have, senses on my tongue that allow me to enjoy taste. And so every now and then I want to stimulate those senses. And if a bit of Vegemite is going to do that, then hey, I'm doing that. Hang me on the cross, because I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome. If someone came to you and said, look, I want to try carnivore, how would you recommend they go about it?
I don't know if this happens to you, and I guess it does. I find this really hard because you have to be a certain kind of human being to do carnivore. And I've had this happen. I've had a lot of people, especially when you lose a lot of weight as a woman, everyone wants to know how you've done it. How come? What have you done? Mara? So I've had it happen a couple of times, and people just do not understand the principle of what carnivore is. Even really, the keto space is very hard to get people's head around, and how much they have to eliminate from their general day-to-day diet. So the last time somebody said that to me, I gave them a link for an electrolyte company, and I gave them 2 video people to watch, because I think they really break it down. And that's Ken Berry, and the other one is is it Eric? Not Eric Berg, the lovely doctor. It'll come to me. There's a lovely doctor that's in the keto space. And he explains the whole keto carnivore thing very, very well, without kind of going into that little bit of crazy. There's some YouTubers, some people who are on socials who get very, very, I guess they'd love it so much, but they sort of come across like they're a little bit too much for somebody who's never had anything to do with that. And Anthony Chafee, I think he's really easy to understand as well. So I just say, look, go into YouTube, go into your Insta, and have a look at somebody who you're comfortable with that talks about the carnivore space, and go from there. Because I think everyone's experience with it is different as well. The experience that I had would be different to somebody who's just come off a standard Australian diet, because I'd been keto for 3 years. So if you come straight off this standard Australian diet onto carnivore, man, that must be a bumpy, bumpy road. I'm sure people do it. I'm not sure how, but I've learnt my lesson, because people just cannot get their head around it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, yeah, as you said, everyone does experience it a little bit differently. Like, I started with basically having carbs on lifting days, then on rest days I'll just have beef and eggs.
Yep.
And then I thought, hang on, I feel a lot calmer, and I feel have more having beef and eggs. I can focus, I can get work done. I don't procrastinate. But when I have the carbs in, brain fog comes back, and it's like, yeah, it made sense to me at that stage. Yeah,
totally.
Do you find that? Do you like not procrastinate when you're on carnivore? Have you felt anything like that?
Well, I'm a little tiny bit neurodivergent, so that's how my brain works. I procrastinate a little bit, just as a general rule. I find in the last 3 years, and it's hard for me to really nut it down just to carnivore, because I think going through menopause changes a lot hormonally for women as well. And I'm in a very, very calm space at the minute. Like, anything that I would have, worried about, or say I'm going to do that tomorrow, that doesn't happen anymore. And I think I really put it down to the carnivore space, but also my hormones are settled as well. So I'm the most zen I've ever been in my life, and really nothing bothers me. Things that would have bothered me 3 years ago, even in keto, I don't care a jot about anymore. I am really at that place in my life where you can do whatever you want in your life, because if it doesn't affect me or my family, I don't care anymore. And I really do put that down to the carnivore state that I'm in. I'm just much more kind of like this than I ever was before. But I can't lie, I am a little bit of a procrastinator, far less than ever before. But that's just generally how I roll. Sometimes I'm up in the clouds,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Have you found any difference in your sleep quality since going carnivore?
Well, that again, apologies to the men who will watch this. Menopause messes with your sleep big time. It did for me. really, really badly because I've always been a sleeper. So the answer to that is yes, my sleep is better, but I'm also on HRT. So whether that's because of the carnivore or not, I don't know. In the last few months, I've found my waking hours much earlier. I'm sleeping better, but I'm waking at about 4:30 in the morning, just naturally, which I never would have done before. And I don't know whether that's to do with the whole dawn effect, my glucose levels rising a little bit, my blood sugar's doing strange things to prepare my body for the day. Now, I don't get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, but I could get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning. Like, I'm quite bright at that time of the morning. I wake up and think, well, if I don't get back to sleep, I'll just get up. And inevitably I do get back to sleep, but I could get up and start my day at that time. And that's really the only change since carnivore. But I suspect it's like the whole dawn effect thing for me.
Yeah, definitely. I find that, I naturally do wake up around 4:30, and I actually find I'm really like awake. I've actually got more energy. Whereas before they'd like, I've got to have a coffee before I wake up kind of thing. Like, don't bother me until I've had a coffee kind of thing.
100%. And that's how I am if I fall back to sleep. But at 4:30, I'm exactly the same, Todd.
Yeah. And end of the day, I feel like I just want to get straight to bed. I don't want to stay up on my phone. Like, I'm just sort of naturally more tired, but I'm sleeping less, but having more energy, which doesn't really.
So for me, I spend a lot of time staying up late at nighttime because I found it was the only time that I could have me time. So the kids would be in bed, the hubby would go off to bed, and I would sit and doom scroll or watch something on telly or just put headphones on and listen to music because that was my time. And so if it was 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock, I'd be like, okay, everyone's been in bed for an hour. I'm going to go to bed. I've had enough of my own time. Now, 9:30, I'm out. I'm in bed by 9:15 and I'm asleep before 10 and a solid sleep, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So at this stage, you'd stay carnivore. You'd never go back to like a balanced diet or a carbohydrate.
No, there's no such thing for me, Todd. I'm an all or nothing girl. There is no such thing for me. And if somebody can do it, hallelujah to them. I'm all or nothing. I cannot manage my carbs when I have them. They take over. I'm constantly looking for food when I'm eating carbohydrates. Like I would, my old Australian standard diet would be, porridge for breakfast at 7:30. By 10 o'clock, if you ran too close to me, I would eat you. I was so hungry. I have a particularly high metabolism for a woman. I've done one of those carbon dioxide breathing tests. So I naturally burn about 1,600 calories at rest. Now, for a woman, that's quite high, I believe. And so I was hungry constantly and I was having these carb spikes and then crash. I would get the jitters. I definitely think I've had undiagnosed insulin resistance all my life, and that is completely controlled now. I still get hungry, but I don't get hangry. I don't get the shakes. I don't feel like I'm going to pass out. And I'm like much more able to recognize that it's just a hunger pain, not that I'm going to die from it, which is carb addiction. I was going to die if I would have to stop and eat right now, so I'm never going back to that again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I 100% agree. It used to be like, eating 5-6 times a day. You have your pre-workout snack, post-workout snack. It's like, I feel like now that's just kind of marketing to get people on these different sort of protein bars and products. And yeah.
Do you know, I now go very rarely down any other aisles but the meat aisle and sometimes the frozen food aisle. And I took myself down the health food aisle the other day in Woolies, and I just cannot believe the supplementation for protein. I'm like, eat your protein, guys. Stop drinking your protein. And the stuff, like the colors on the cans and, the marketing towards men, the marketing towards women, it's mind boggling. It's such a simple life, carnivore. And thank God.
Yeah. It's almost like it's good. We've got things like social media and the world's getting smaller. We've got so much information available, but it's almost like there's just too much too many choices, just too much information out there.
And you know, the older we get, the more we are conscious of our health, obviously, and the responsibility to take care of ourselves becomes part of the marketing. You know, marketing that these people, like, I see it as clear as day now. You know, every decade you're supposed to do this, this, and this to keep yourself healthy. And it's just a marketing ploy. Like, eat butter, have steak. That is all you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's I like having like the simple lifestyle. Like, it's basically like, you know, eggs, beef, butter, bacon, you know, the Canberry. It's just so easy. Yeah.
100%. And I honestly, I love watching, you know, YouTube videos where people do that beef, butter, bacon and eggs challenge, and how the changes that they have. I wish I eat bacon, and initially I ate a lot of bacon. It's so strange. Bacon just doesn't float my boat anymore. And I don't know if that's happened to you, like things that you start eating a lot of and you really love them, and then you kind of go, I don't, it's not for me anymore. So, and I'm sure you're the same. I can't find bacon that doesn't taste sweet, because of course your sweet senses are so heightened because you don't have sugar in your diet anymore. I cannot find butter that is, bacon that is not sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I have noticed that. Like, I definitely don't have a taste for chicken anymore, so I've cut that out.
It almost makes me want to balk chicken. I can eat chicken wings. That's the only thing. But you put chicken breast in front of me and I literally...
Yeah, it just doesn't appeal to me anymore.
No.
Yeah. I have got a bit of a sweet tooth. I still like quite enjoy bacon as like a bit of a treat, but I wouldn't have it. A bit of a treat. Yeah, but it's not like I have to have it. It's kind of there as, you know, it's an additional extra. Yeah.
Do you have cream, Todd?
No.
Are you dairy free?
I've had to cut out dairy because, I find it does upset my stomach. And I tried having cheese the other day, but it's like cheese to me tastes super sweet now. So I just want to keep eating cheese. I've got to put that away. Yeah.
Yeah. I notice when I eat cheese, I do then want to have cheese again the next day. I mean, I still have it. I still allow myself to have it. And I have cream, but I find cheese and cream are my treat foods. I really enjoy them because I can taste the sugar in them still, you know. It's mind-blowing how sensitive you become to sugar. I don't understand how anybody eats a piece of chocolate. If I ate a piece of chocolate, my brain would blow off, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think I've had even like blueberries. To me, they're crazy, crazy sweet. I wouldn't be able to stop. Yeah. Chocolate, whole block, and then I want another block. Like, you just can't help yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. It just triggers those addiction centers straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Priscilla, what social media are you on?
So I initially, when I started Carnivore, was very good at doing videos because I, of course, wanted to convert the world. So I have a YouTube channel and I have a Carnivore Instagram. So both of them, I believe, are Carnivore Sil. But I'm not very active on them, I have to say.
Okay. All right. I'll
but happy for anybody to reach out if they want to, you know.
Yeah, awesome. I'll leave a link to them in your, in the description of the video if people want to reach.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Priscilla. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.